You are live.
Hello. Wait to see anybody here. We're running a little bit late today. Kind of a difficult situation with the weather and everything. Let us know if you can hear us. Check, check, check. Is everybody hearing us okay?
Come on, people. 6 people watching. And anybody here? I think I can hear you.
It's okay.
People watching.
It's still on your phone.
I think I can hear you.
Okay. Everybody hear us okay? Been a while. We've been a little off on this thing. Now we're back. We're getting back at it. Everybody hear us okay?
You have to turn that off.
And we're going to show you a couple things real quick. The phone batteries, when it's, I think it's like 12 degrees right now, they won't last for long, but Jessica's got a heater on, a tow heater on the back of her phone. Hopefully that'll help it maintain the ability to run through this.
With adhesive.
With adhesive, yeah, and wings.
Yes. Oh, God.
Bravo 19 Alpha Bravo. Good to see everybody. We've been fighting weather and on a lot of clinic tours and just things happening in life, and we're going to be back and be consistent now from now the rest of the year, as long as nothing bad is happening as far as weather and stuff. But we'll be on here doing something to show you guys every day.
Every Tuesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Thursday, just clarifies. We've been battling weather like everybody else, and we thought we'd explain a couple things. It's not just here. From here way south, everybody's got snow, they've got cold weather and stuff, and it's been so cold here that we are in a situation where when we put birds out, they literally will die within a half hour. So since Monday, we haven't put any more birds out. Today is Thursday. We've been running dogs and exercising dogs, and all through the weekend, we're preparing for this championship. We've been all through the weekend, we worked dogs, and then we also was doing the treadmill. Jessica's got a program going with the treadmill with dogs. Where she's doing them, some of them 2 times a day. She's tried to get me to do it 3 times a day, but we're lucky to get 1 out of me. But the dogs have been exercised and doing it in the heat of the kennel, so they're getting some acclimation. It's pretty cool because running in the snow, we've got I can't tell it here, but there's a foot of snow out there, and it's a hard work for the dogs to run around and move. So it's a good exercise for them, but we're at the point now where today and until we have to leave for this championship, we will be doing putting birds out because we think that it's warm enough they can survive, and we just don't want the birds to suffer. We just don't. You put them out there and it's so cold the last few days I couldn't do it. But some of the things you have to deal with when it's like this in the snow. When you go place a bird out, it's not going to sit on the ground unless you can find some cover that has a canopy over it. The snow will be over it, and there'll be a grass area underneath of that. Unless you can put the birds in there. The thing you have to be careful of when you do that is there's no way for the bird to get out. If the dog approaches the bird, doesn't smell the bird only has one way out. It's either dive down in the cover thicker or blow out the hole that you stuck the bird into. So we have to be careful with that and making sure the bird has a way to get away. If you're talking about really, really broke dogs, it's not a big deal, but a young green dog, it's not so fun. The other thing that we do is we find cedar trees. Cedar trees are pretty fantastic for this because if you throw a bird on the ground when it's very cold like it has been, that bird is not going to sit in the snow. They're going to find a place to get up, and a low tree limb on a cedar tree works fantastic because they're still close to the ground, maybe within a foot of the ground, and they are the scent cone's going to work and all that stuff, and they're easy, somewhat easy to flush. But it's also great training for advanced dogs because the birds will flop around up their tree limbs until you finally get them to flush. So those are some of the things and the problems we run into with weather like this, and we just have to train through it and find ways to get through it. The other thing that can happen is that it's awfully easy if you look out that way. There's old tracks, new tracks that from the Ranger that we've been using to run dogs and put birds out and stuff when we've done that. You have to be really, really careful, and you can learn a lot about your dog in snow like this. When you have snow on the ground and you go out and put birds out, if you see your dog following the track where you walk or you drove or whatever, that means that your dog has got a problem or started the issues of tracking everywhere to the birds. So you want to be real careful about making sure you're aware of the wind. The wind right now is like this. I just went out and put some bird releases out for a pup, and I was real aware of how I approached the cover and got out of the cover without leaving a scent trail from the downwind side. If you're doing this with birds, you do not want to set it, because it's awful easy to just drive up to the cover, throw a bird out and move on. You want to try to be really aware of the fact that it's easy for dogs to start following your tracks to the birds, especially in the snow. When we have snow like this that's this deep, the dogs are going to look for the path of least resistance, the same as I do, and they're going to walk in the track, the ATV track. So try to move around and go in places where they can't follow that track or smell your track. Anything to add, Jessica?
Well, one of the things we did yesterday, we found 3 wild coveys, but we did not flush them. We could see them tucked under the brush and cover way down deep. We didn't flush them. We just clapped our hands and pulled the dogs out of there because we don't want to be bothering the coveys when it's this cold. We don't want to break them up. That would be a very bad idea. So we weren't intending to find them, but we did. So be careful of the birds. They need to survive, and this is tough conditions for them. We're putting out alfalfa and milo where we know we have coveys, just to help them get through the tough times.
The alfalfa thing came from a bird guy. He said in the winter with his birds at Richard Johnson, good friend of ours, he said that he puts alfalfa in the pens for his birds, and they need the protein, and they'll eat it. So what we've done is taken and gone out and put out alfalfa with a milo, and it's amazing how many animals find that and eat it in these conditions. And like Jessica said, and we had places where the dogs were on point. You know, those birds will set in there for a long time and won't come out much until we get a day like today. They should probably be moving today a little bit. But we just try not to flush them, help them survive. Don't stress them any more than they need to be. And there was 3 instances yesterday, just like Jessica said, that we pulled the dogs out and didn't even try to flush because we don't want to move them, and we want them to survive. So does anybody have any questions on there?
I can't see any on this one. If you hand me your phone, I'll look, or you can check. For some reason, the comments aren't showing up.
It's been a while. We've been
All right, he's just checking for questions. Hope you all are staying safe and warm. I know everybody all over the country is having some difficult times with this weather, and we're very blessed. We have wood stoves, and we have John to keep them full, and we're staying plenty warm. The dogs have a wood stove in there, and everybody's here doing real, real well. So tough conditions for everybody, and we'll keep you all in our prayers that everybody gets through this with minimal amount of difficulty. I know a lot of people are dealing with frozen pipes and miserable conditions. So.
okay. There's a question there, but
I'll take a
I
look.
can't see.
Okay.
My eyes are terrible. There was a couple questions at the top. So
We don't do setups. It's for steadiness, especially for backing. Dogs find the setups. Okay, we don't do setups for scenting and finding. It's for steadiness, especially for backing. Dogs find the setups quick. That's okay. Again, it's for steadiness. Thoughts?
So I think what the question is that he's saying that they don't like to do setups for backing. Well, we do setups for backing to start teaching the concept, because depending on what kind of dogs that you have or own and you work with, a lot of dogs don't have a real strong, that we see these days, don't have a real strong backing instinct. Some do, and we love that when we find them. But I'd say half the dogs we have coming in training aren't real good backing and naturally, and so we have to set up things to help them start getting the concept and find little ways to train them through it. Because a lot of people in the training we do for them, they need their dogs to back efficiently and effectively and consistently. And so when you have a dog that does not back well, instinctively, you have to find cues to help the dog learn. And I agree with you. We have some dogs out here that we'll run, and we can not set up anything, and they'll run onto a dog on point. And the first time they see that, they slam onto a point totally instinctively, and that's fantastic. So that's all about instinct. But if you have dogs that don't, you have to find ways to set it up so they can learn what is going on. What does it mean when they see the dog on point? What is the reasoning for the dog standing there? Because believe it or not, there's a lot of dogs that don't have that instinct. So I agree with you. If you can do it without it, yes. But if you have to, you need to get your dogs to back. And sometimes, we have dogs that we have in training that they have that little instinct, but they just don't like to do it. And so that's the other thing that can happen with a few setups, is teaching the dogs that they need to. And that's one of the things that we will be covering in one of the future videos, is a very in-depth just on backing. And we've got quite a bit already filmed on that, because there's a lot of problems that people cause, and a lot of it's through using setups and the perception they think that the dogs should think what we're thinking, that we're going to go work on a backing situation. Now we turn the dog loose, sees the dog on point, but they're looking for birds still, and then a lot of things happen in those moments of trying to get the dog to stop that are detrimental to the dog's backing future. So I hope that answers your questions and the way we see these things. So
Pam Canther said it's getting really hard to find quail. What are the best things to do with pigeons?
We actually have a setup right now that we're going to show you, Pam. That we have this bird release thing, and we do this with puppies a lot of stuff. And with the snow this deep, we'll show you the setup real quick after we run this puppy. But we're going to go out there and show you how we do this. We'll be on the ATV. I don't know if we can walk fast enough right now to stay up with her.
Yeah, not in the deep snow.
It's too deep. I mean, she can run a lot faster than we can now. Well, anyway, without the deep snow, she can run faster. But anyway, we'll show you the setup, and it's just a way. And the thing you have to remember with that, Pam, is that if you're taking your dog out working on pigeons and thinking that's going to give your dog the same association they're going to have when you go to a hunt test or a field trial or whatever, it will not. The pigeons are a great tool to teach your dogs concepts and get the stopping and pointing and moving out the bird flies off,
stop the flush, yeah,
backing, all them things. But it's a tool to be used for us to save money. We have 300 of them in the box over there in the pen, and it saves people money because they come right back. So we can use them over and over and over. Put the dogs on a lot of birds, but then there comes that point where we transition to quail, the pheasants, checkers, and by doing that, we're teaching the dog they have to do things correctly for us on those specific breed of birds. If you only work on pigeons and go to hunt test, it's not going to work well, because they're not going to be seeing quail in the interim while you're training.
Hey, we need to introduce Mandy.
This is Mandy.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi.
Just we let her come out of the kennel for a minute to break the dog.
She's our new employee. She's doing a fantastic job in miserable conditions.
Yep.
Welcome to the family, Mandy.
She started on a tough day. It's a tough week.
Yes, she did. A tough week.
She's doing great.
She's doing really good. And who do we have here?
This is Walkie. This is Carly and Darren's dog, and she's been staying here while they took a couple days off.
Yep.
So we're going to use her today on the bird releases to show you she's not broke. She's a young puppy. What is she, 7 months old now?
Yep. She's out of Perfection's Huckleberry and Circle H's Royal Miss, I believe is her name.
And,
Adam can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but
so
lovely
we're gonna
pup.
Take her and run her and try to get her on the downwind side of these bird releases.
Yep. What are you going to do if she doesn't go on the downwind side?
If she doesn't go on the downwind side and smell the birds, if she's even close to it, I'm going to start pushing that button to get that thing to fly. I do not want her getting close to it. I want any mishaps. Or say let's say that she hits our track, she goes on way up on the upwind side and happen to hit my track or something. I'm probably not gonna let it go then, but if she's working into the bird, I'm gonna have to. I went through the checklist on the bird releases. They are working, they are tripping, and they are
Ready to go.
Ready to roll. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean they won't fail.
Yeah.
So if you see us diving off the range or
That's
catching
why.
the puppy, you're getting all of it. It's because we had a failure on the releases. So.
All right. Do you want me to let her go while you can hold this?
Okay, Jessica's going
talking.
to let her go. Let's head that way. It's going to get loud for a minute, a lot of road motor noise. So I'll hand this to Jessica once we get her loose. And we'll try to talk to you while we're going here so you can understand. And we'll stop once we do the bird releases and talk some more back here in the field. So bear with us as we start this motor and see if we can get her to go find these birds. The other thing I have going, I have number 1 out first. If you can see that, it's on number 1. Everything's good to go. I got my thumb on the button. Hopefully you can see that. Number 1. That's the first release we should go to. So here we go. Are you walking?
Nope. I did walk this morning,
no,
trying to get ready for that championship. I thought I was going to die in a foot of snow.
So all I'm going to try to do is keep her going with us forward. Again, the snow's deep. And she's running the track right now. You see how she's following the track. She's following the track because that's the easiest place to walk or run. She's done this a few times. She's going to check for places.
So John's getting ready with his transmitter here for the bird release. He's not going to wait for her to point. Hopefully she will, but she might not.
See how deep the snow is right here.
Yeah, woo, bogging down. Snow is super deep.
Rocky, Rocky, Rocky.
So notice John stops and waits for her instead of continuing on. We don't want her getting behind us, so we're gonna wait for. There we go. Look how deep that snow is. This is what these dogs have been fighting all week. All right. So she's not used to being run off a ranger. She's usually walked. This is good for her.
That is not where I drove out.
That's not where we drove out. That's yesterday's tracks. Those are old tracks.
Bird's right over there by that leaf tree.
We're just going to wait and see if we can get her in the scent cone.
Okay, I'm going to go to number 2.
So when they go by the bird release like this, we just move on to the next release.
Number 2 now.
Okay, switch to number 2. She's in there looking for the wild covey. That's a good thing.
Rocky.
Good girl. That was beautiful. So this is what we do with puppies if it's the off season and you can't hunt wild birds or you can't get them on wild birds. Potty break over there. We try and take these puppies out. Good girl. And let them find birds because we want babies to understand that they're going to find birds every time they go out. It's critical that they understand they're going to find game. You don't want to just keep walking your pup over and over and over with no birds. And so we don't want to disturb cubbies right now, and the puppies aren't broke, so this is the best thing we can do for them. Trying to stay with you guys. My hands are freezing because I had to take my gloves off to do this. Oh, yeah, yikes. Oh, she stopped. Good girl. Woo, that was scary.
The next one's right up there.
Okay. There she goes. John popped the bird. That was beautiful. See how she barely got scent of it there. The bird's already gone now. She's got a stronger scent. But he popped it because we don't wait for them to point.
So we're going to try
Good
to get her
girl.
to look for it some more.
Good. He's going to try and encourage her to go in and look for it some more. Good girl. So now, of course, the scent is stronger because she got closer, but the bird is gone. And we want puppies pointing birds and bird releases, not bird releases. John clapped for her, and there she goes. Let her just keep moving up until she figures out that there's nothing there. What's...
Show her I've come in to put the bird release out.
Okay. I'm trying to unzoom it, and it's not working. Gotta love the Colden phones. Very pretty. Okay, but again, there's nothing there because we already popped it when she got the first itty-bitty scent of it. So proper use of bird releases is to get that bird out of there the minute they barely smell it, because that's what a wild bird would do. Look how pretty, though.
She's been on a lot of wild birds, so she's just got to learn to distinguish now the bird's gone. And we'll stand her and let her do that.
Yeah, no hurry. We're gonna let her figure it out. So you can see the track of where John walked in and planted the bird is actually on the upwind side. So the wind is blowing from those trees towards me, the camera. John came in the backside, so there's no way she could have tracked us to this bird. We're very careful about that. And we got to let her just figure out that there's nothing there. This is great. This pup has a lot of point in her. We spent a lot of time with her and her brother, Finley, and they both have a ton of point. Nice puppies. Anxious to see the rest of the litter. We'll get some in the spring.
And we're not going to go in and flush. I'm going to try to get her to go look because I don't want her to feel like that I'm going to flush if there's nothing there. We know there's nothing there.
Right. So what he's saying is he's not going to walk in front of her. We start that habit early on. If we don't think anything's there or we know that nothing's there, we don't walk in front of them to flush. That just creates false pointing. So he's going to go encourage her to move up. And, and there you go. Figure out nothing's there. That's a girl. Good girl. There.
I'll walk over and show him how I plan the release.
So he put the release in here. He dug out all the snow so the bird wouldn't freeze. He wanted it actually down under the ground so she couldn't see it. So he's dug a hole here and put that bird release in it. And you can see she smelled it from a long ways off. Quite a long ways off, but she didn't have a good strong scent. But again, we just pop it. We don't want them waiting. We don't want to wait for them to point. We want to pop that bird at first scent.
The biggest mistake most people make with release is they wait. As soon as you feel like they're hitting scent or feel like the bird's there, let it go. And that'll get your dog pointing better and better and better rather than moving in.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
So, anybody have any questions?
I can't tell on this phone. I think I have the other one. For some reason, it's not letting me see.
Okay,
There you go.
you talk for a minute and I'll hold it while you get
Put my gloves
regloved.
on because my hands are freezing.
It looks nice out, but it's cold.
It is cold. It's about, what, 10 degrees?
I think I said 12 or 13 while
12,
ago.
12 degrees.
It's warming up.
Yeah, it is. So Walkie's still looking for that bird. Do I have your phone, baby? Yeah, I do. Hey. Sorry, guys. It's so cold. It's hard to keep track of everything. Okay, let's see. It's getting really... Okay, nope, I don't think we have any questions.
Okay, well,
John didn't understand the post. We do use set up for training backing and steadiness, not for scenting and bird finding.
yes,
Correct, yeah.
correct. Yeah, okay, so the question I answered improperly was, or didn't understand the question. They don't set up setups for scenting and finding birds. That's exactly right, because these dogs are so smart that they'll learn to follow your track, and all of them. I don't care what breed it is. And there are other breeds or other lines of dogs in each breed that are more likely to track more than air scent. And you just got to be really careful. So here in a little bit, we're going to be out running our trial dogs and this stuff, and we're going to go around and basically drive out into a field and throw two birds up in the air and hope they fly to cover where we can find them later so there's no scent to them. We're trying to still avoid the wild birds for a couple more days. And so we don't want to flush them. So this thing must be zoomed in or something.
Yeah, it is. And
it went on Zoom?
No.
Okay. So
It's fighting the cold
really
too.
big right now.
Yes, you do. Here, I'll get your head. Okay.
Yeah, everything in my teeth. All right. Well, posting questions and the whole setup thing and not leaving tracks. Again, you can see I drove up here. I walked into right here, dug a hole, put the bird release, escaped that way, backed out that way. You can see my tracks over there.
And Walkie's back on point.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can see my back where I backed out.
Uh-huh.
Turned around and went
Yeah.
to the next one. So it's a good way to show you how we approach this. And you can't be lazy with this. If you're lazy with it, your dog will learn to track to the birds and not look for birds. They're looking for tracks that lead to birds. That's why a lot of people's dogs, when they've been trained improperly and learn to track, they go hunting and can't find nothing because there's no tracks to the birds. So set your dogs up right, help them learn how to find birds, not where you walked in to plant birds. And that's, or using AT. I don't care if you use rubber boots, a horse, an ATV, they will track everything that you use.
That's right.
To put birds at it. Just try to keep your dogs from learning that. So hope everybody enjoyed this. Everybody, we're praying for everybody in the weather, and it'll be over soon. It's going to get a little warmer. Post some questions. We're going to be back on here consistently. From now on, we're back in the swing of things, and the next time you'll see us, we should be either on the way or in Arkansas.
All right.
So everybody have a blessed day, and post some questions. Thanks for watching. Bye.